Next, let's talk about machine orientation and machine settings. With most machines, there are at least 4 settings that you want to become familiar with: gain, scanning frequency, penetration or depth, and focal zones. Before you even set the probe down on the patient, think about the structure that you're going to be scanning. Is it going to be shallow? Is it going to be deep? Do you have a heavy-set patient or a lean patient? Try to set your machine settings so that you minimize going back and forth from the patient to the machine to adjust those settings constantly. So for example, if I'm looking at the lateral elbow, relatively shallow structure on a lean patient, I'm not going to need a lot of penetration or depth to scan that. Also keep in mind that scanning depth and scanning frequency are inversely relational. The higher your scanning frequency, the less depth or penetration you're going to be able to get, and vice versa. The lower your scanning frequency, the more penetration. Keep in mind, however, that in addition, there's a relationship between scanning frequency, depth, and resolution. Your greatest resolutions are going to be at the highest frequencies, but that's also going to be at the most shallow penetrations. Your lower resolutions will be deeper, and that's also going to be at your greatest depths. So again, going back to our lateral elbow, relatively superficial structure, we can scan at a higher frequency to get better resolution, but we don't need a lot of depth. So if I were to take this elbow and scan it at my current settings, which are 3 centimeters, when I put the probe down, we see the bulk of our image is in the upper third of the screen. And we have a lot of black or wasted space in the lower portion of the screen. To avoid that and to optimize the image, I'd have to go back and change my depth. So before putting the probe down, think about what you're going to be scanning and adjust the machine first. So in this case, let's decrease our depth down to about 2 centimeters. Now when we put the probe down, we see that that image fills more of the screen and we have a better image overall. Now let's compare that to looking at the biceps tendon. If I keep the settings currently where they are at 2 centimeters and go up to the biceps tendon, now we barely get the biceps tendon in view. So before I would put the probe down on the patient for the biceps, I would want to increase my depth to about 3 centimeters or so. Now when I put the probe down, we see that the biceps is nicely centered in the image. We have a good clean picture and it fills the whole screen.